are now tuned into the Black Deth 101 podcast where the streets talk and the reels roll. This ain't just a pod jazz, baby. It's a revolution with a rhythm. Now let's get into it.
Welcome to the Black Deth 101 podcast, where the streets talk and the reels roll. We dissect our favorite Blaxploitation films that saved Hollywood and still influence it today. I am your host, Nubius Black, and giving him 5 on the right-hand side, my brother from another mother, Johnny Deth. What's shaking, Johnny?
Hey, Nubius, another great, beautiful day. Welcome to the show, listeners. And boy, what a show we've got for you today. Because this one doesn't warm up. It doesn't ease you in. It doesn't smile before it swings. This one just steps up to the plate and says, pay attention. Today, we're talking about a movie that we like to refer to as Blaxploitation Avengers. That's right. Today, we are discussing Three the Hard Way, a 1974 film that doesn't traffic in metaphor. It don't hide behind allegory. It doesn't pretend the danger is abstract. This movie is direct, blunt, and deadly serious.
Yes, it is. You will see if you watch this movie, and we're going to give some spoilers, so don't get all butthurt. But if you watch this movie, you'll see where other movies of the recent past have borrowed heavily on this films, from the optics to the storyline to the whole plot, really. If you just change the MacGuffin, you will see what we're talking about. But before we get into it, we would like you to please like, subscribe, and share. Let us know what you think. Give us some suggestions. And those thumbs up and those likes really help us out. You can check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So, Johnny, you should have been in this movie because everybody's name was a J. There was a Jim. There was 2 Jims and a Fred. They could have had a Johnny in there. What difference did it make?
I should have had a Johnny in there.
Johnny Guitar Watson.
There you go. Before we get into the story, folks, you got to understand the moment. America in 1974 is uneasy. Vietnam is still echoing in the living rooms. Watergate has cracked that illusion of trust. The civil rights movement has passed law books, but not the hearts. Cities are struggling, institutions feel distant, and a lot of promises sound hollow. For Black America, that's a particular tension that's in the air, a sense that progress, maybe it came with fine print, that visibility doesn't mean safety, that being included didn't mean being protected. And Three the Hard Way is born right in that space. It doesn't ask, what if? It asks, what now? At the core, Three the Hard Way is about prevention, not revenge or cleanup, not aftermath, prevention. We open on a small private prison or clinic, and one of the prisoners, or maybe he's a human guinea pig, he's a young Black man. His name is House, and he manages a daring escape. Now, for the budget, some of these shots are masterful. There's like no dialogue. Danger is in the air. There's shadows, stacks of bodies. It's all mood. Now, House gets confronted by a guard. He grabs a rifle and escapes, but he's shot. He's pursued into a park where he stumbles upon a couple of kids that are trying to get busy in a sleeping bag. These kids pack him into the car and take off. Cue the credits. Jim Brown is Jimmy. Jimmy is taking a walk with his girlfriend, Wendy, and we know they are in love because the song over the montage of them driving in a Rolls Royce, walking in the park, kissing, holding hands, it tells us exactly what's going on. Wendy.
It tells the story.
It does. In fact, what you're going to find is that several times as the action gets going, the music kicks in, and it tells you exactly what's going on, just in case you got to the movie late and needed to be caught up.
I gotta interrupt with that.
Please.
Black Dynamite did the same thing as a joke that every song on Black Dynamite, which this movie is very influential with. It tells you about Jimmy, Black Dynamite's younger brother, doing drugs, but the song tells the story about him doing drugs and dying. The songs are very descriptive. And you also need to let the people know that for some reason, this white couple is on a moonlight stroll trying to get busy in a fucking sleeping bag next to a fucking Frankenstein laboratory. And the brother that escaped, House, you mentioned, remember, he was hiding from the guards, but he had to hide, just like a lot of slaves did back in the day, under a bunch of dead black bodies. So it got real
Yes.
very fucking. This was not made for laughs. It was pretty shocking to me when I was a child when I seen this, even though I didn't catch the whole shit. America really did that shit? And we're gonna get to that because this movie, if you watch it, you're gonna take it as popcorn entertainment, and trust me, it is. It's got Hal Needham and his fucking blowing up car shit. This dude must have had a hard on the whole time he made this show because Hal Needham is, love him or hate him, he was the best at what he did, and that was car chases, explosions, motherfuckers getting blown up in cars. He did what? Uh, the Cannonball Run
Did
1 and 2.
yeah. Yes, he was a good friend, I believe, of Burt Reynolds.
Burt
He did a
Reynolds,
bunch
yeah.
of Burt Reynolds movies.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. So
Back to our story. Jimmy and Wendy, they're walking when those kids that House ran into show up. And it seems, I don't know, does it seem like they know Jimmy? Because they're like, hey, there's this guy in the car.
out of nowhere,
Yeah, and they
they
run
picked,
up to him
and
and they
they
tell
were
him,
in a car garage, and these white girl just ran up on Jim Brown. She was risking life or limb in real life as well as in the movie because he would have shot her and killed her.
yeah, you don't run up on Jim Brown.
Hell no.
Man. So they tell him they've got this kid, they've got House and that he's injured, and Jimmy and Wendy jump in the kid's car and take off, leaving the
I guess
kids
the
there
I guess the white kids
without their
just took the
car.
I guess the white kids just took
Rolls
the Silver
Royce.
Ghost. Maybe they took the Silver
That's what
Ghost.
I was thinking. Well, it's possible because you know that the white boy with the long blonde hair? That's Corbin Burnson. Years
Yes.
before LA Law or The Dentist, his father was a producer on the flick, got him the job, and that's his first acting credit. So Jimmy and Wendy, they steal the kid's car, they get to the hospital, and the cops immediately want to harass them. Now, any guess who was playing the cop?
Alex Rocco?
Yes. Alex Rocco, exactly. The same cop that you would normally walk up to him and say, "Hey, what are you doing? I'm in charge here." And Alex Rocco's famous line is usually, "Not anymore, you're not." And he'll show like the FBI badge.
And he
But
kinda did that in this one.
he's even telling Jimmy that this is no perforated ulcer. What's going on here? We don't want any of your hijinks. It's like they know him.
Right,
Like this
and that
guy
that's
is
my point I wanted to ask you. The cops act like they knew who Jimmy Lake was, but in this movie, he's a fucking record producer. So I guess he's like the prototype Suge Knight, and they know him for his violence during his record producing skill.
absolutely, or maybe he has gone out on the street before and gotten some black justice. Dig this. There's a well funded white supremacist organization. They plan to poison the water supply of major American cities, targeting black communities for mass extermination. This is not chaos, it's a deliberate, planned, organized genocide because the rich guy that runs this
Dr. Feather.
Monroe Feather, yes,
Yes, White Feather.
yes, Monroe Feather, light as a feather. He explains to Wendy that they have a chemical that only affects non whites and that he is going to go down in history.
I, as a child, was thinking, wow, this is some real supervillain type shit. Still, I couldn't wait to see him being brought to justice. But then, having my parents tell me when I guess I was old enough to understand, or at least they thought I understood, about what the United States government really did with the Henrietta Lacks experiments and the Tuskegee experiments done down there. And you hear these stories and you go, Not America. We're America. America doesn't do that type of shit. This is only shit that's made for the movies. Because this movie was they were gonna have to put it in the water supply of a lot of cities that had a majority black citizenship.
Detroit,
And
Los Angeles, and Chicago.
right, I don't know why they left out New York, but anyhow, this water would be tainted and would only affect black males and females and make them sterile where they couldn't have babies. And that would kill off the black population, they said, within 20 years. Again, it sounds very superhero movie-ish, evil scientists from Nazi Germany and all that bullshit. Yet when my parents told me the story about the truth, it really hit hard. This show is, again, it is a popcorn flavored candy coated topping of action cinema with black heroes in it. But there's a lot of fucking truth in this. And if you don't believe me, you can Google that shit. Don't go AI in that motherfucker. Go and Google it. Or better yet, go to the library if they didn't take these books out, because they like taking books out now that tell the truth. It will tell you. This country was fucked up for a long, long fucking time. So none of this shit is new. And this movie was very fucking bold to put it out there on the screen. Very bold.
Absolutely. And you say that Monroe Feather appears like a supervillain. Well, he's played by Jay Robinson, who had gotten great reviews for playing Caligula in the movie The Robe and in its sequel, Demetrius and the Gladiator. I always felt that Jay Robinson was kind of like the bargain version of Burgess Meredith. If you couldn't afford Burgess Meredith, you got
Right,
Jay Robinson.
right.
Man. So we need 3 guys to fight this threat. It's 3 cities, 3 guys. Jim Brown, Fred Williamson, Jim Kelly. So Jim Brown, Jimmy, leaves his girlfriend Wendy at the hospital with House. She's going to stay there, keep him company. She steps out of the room for a minute, and man, the bad guys are already there. They slide in slick. They're on a cherry picker. It's rising like bad intentions. They come in through the window, and it's death on arrival. They ice the man cold, and right then, dig this, Wendy walks in. Wrong place, wrong time. Another guinea pig for Monroe Feather, and they snatch her up. Gone. Just like that, damn it. Now, these Nazi creeps, they got Jimmy on their radar. Heavy. They tail him into a parking garage where steel meets soul. Bout 1. James Brown versus 2 full-sized automobiles. Boom! Metal
And
crumbles,
guess who
concrete
wins?
sings. Jim Brown wins. He
You're damn
somehow
right.
gets both of those frickin' cars. He avoids them, he hops over them, making them crash, and then somehow they miss him and they both go off the roof. And interestingly enough, as one car is going off the roof, it just explodes. And as it lands on the other car, you see the other car exploded on impact. First of our big
Why?
explosions.
Why? Hal Needham is why. That's why. I mean, and 70s cars were known to blow the fuck up for no reason, apparently.
Exactly.
And Sheila Fraser, she played Wendy, and Sheila Fraser was a really good standout in these films as well, where, I mean, in this movie, she was a damsel in distress, but she still had some agency to her, where she didn't take any shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Her job was, she was the second, like in a video game, she was the second mission. The mission was to save the black race, then save Wendy. And they did that in that order. And it was very cool because these women in this movie, we're going to get to one of the parts that was so controversial at the time. When I tell you what the controversy is, you'll be dumbfounded. Had nothing to do with tits, had nothing to do with asses, had nothing to do with sex at all. But when we get to that part, we'll let you know. But Jim Brown, again, this is Jim Brown. You could have added this scene to Slaughter, because Slaughter was always being chased by a fucking car while he was on foot, and he would always win. And in this one, it just had way more polish because they had, again, that fucking stunt team they had there. Charlie Chetwood came out of there. It was incredible. I mean, That's just like you said, that was only the first explosion, because there's a lot of explosions in this shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's plenty more explosions, lots more shooting. So we need a team of 3 guys. So Jim Brown is the biggest star in Blaxploitation at the time. He's grounded, serious, unflinching. He's the guy who understands the cost of hesitation. Fred Williamson, I think, steals every scene he's in. Cool, articulate, confident. He moves like someone who's already decided how this ends. Shooting that gun with that ever-present cigar, and cigar smoke and gun smoke don't make this man squint.
Hell no.
Jim Kelly, precision, discipline, control, and you needed a karate guy. Uh, Before we go any further, the music has to be said out loud. The score is by The Impressions,
Yeah.
without Curtis Mayfield. He'd already moved on at this point. And director Gordon Parks Jr. had already worked with The Impressions before on Superfly, where he did have Curtis Mayfield. And in fact, Sheila, was in
Mhm.
Superfly. I think she played, what was her character? Georgia.
That was
Yeah,
the girl laying
she
on the
played Georgia.
I remember her on the poster. She was enough to make me wanna see it, because she's just laying on her belly with her ass kinda, like, on the side, yeah, and Superfly standing there in that white suit with the gun. Great shit.
Mhm. Frickin' classic poster. So you can hear the difference. It's funky. The songs literally, as we said, tell the story of the movie. The film never pretends that there's any further help coming. We know that the cops aren't going to help out. In fact, we're going to get to Jim Kelly and the cops, but we next meet Fred Williamson. He's walking out of, I guess, a building that he must have a fancy apartment in. He's looking fucking fantastic. He's got a babe on his arm. He pops her into a car, waves goodbye, strolls down to the waterfront, and hops into a boat with another girl. This guy's got it going on.
Yes, sir.
Man, Jim Kelly, when they need him, we meet him. He's in, I guess it's Detroit, and he's leaving his house, and some cops have just planted a bunch of white powder under the seat of his car. He gets to his
I think that was
car,
New York
and
they were in, believe it or not.
okay, maybe that's the New York part of this whole thing. So he ends up beating up the cop, and while he's beating him up, about a dozen more cops show up. And Jim Kelly, he's wearing this leather suit. I don't know how you fight in a leather suit, but it's kind of loose on him. And it's slow motion. He's making his animal sounds, but this time we're hearing him in slow motion. And he just beats the crap out of the cops. And as he finishes right around the corner, come Fred Williamson and Jim Brown. And they got these long duster coats on, and they look fucking great. And they all just get into a car and they drive on off.
My question is, with that scene, how the fuck did they know where Jim was at? You know what I mean? They just showed the fuck up, which I guess, it moves the story along. From my count, Jim Kelly beat the shit out of 9 fucking cops and knocked them all unconscious. Apparently, he left the cocaine in the car that the cops fucking put in there. The first cop who asked for his driver's license for some reason, and it's funny, but it's not, because when you were watching that as a kid, you were like, okay, why would he do that? Now it's an everyday thing where cops will pull a black person over. Hint, I'm a black person. And they would pull me over all the time and just ask to see my driver's license, or my favorite one. I don't know if white people ever get this when they get pulled over. I had a cop pull me over and said he was doing a wellness check because I looked sad. I was going to fucking work. Was I supposed to be smiling? And I've never heard of that shit. And you can't argue it because, again, that's the real world. So the make-believe world we're watching here in Through the Hard Way, ironically, is the real world of today. And another thing, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to fucking meet Fred Williamson and he goes into his apartment, don't tackle this motherfucker and try to fight him just to see if he still got it. That is what fucking Jim Brown did. And then Fred Williamson pulled out a cannon and he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He says, you almost lost, you almost lost your balls. You know that, right?
Right. And Meanwhile, we found that the bad guys are looking for Jimmy, and one of them walks in and goes, "I found our lost buck. He's in
Yeah.
Chicago." And that's when he jumps on Fred Williamson, and they have their little reunion, and they discuss, you know, they don't live too far right now from the old neighborhood, so I guess that's where they all know each other from. It's just a hint of backstory, but it's there. And Fred Williamson, baby, big daddy charisma. Cigar locked in place like punctuation, just crazy stuff. Jimmy
On
links
the
up with
screen.
Jagger. Yeah, they trade that old neighborhood shorthand. How's the kid? They must have all known each other. There's no time to reminisce because trouble busts in loud immediately. The usual fucking Nazi creeps come charging, and our heroes take off running. And they look righteous running, man. These guys are athletes. These cats were gridiron gods, and motion is in their DNA. So the heat follows, guns barking, and suddenly we're blazing through an arcade. Neon lights flashing, bullets firing, machine guns, just pure fucking chaos. And I got to tell you, man, that's really the rhythm of it. Keep
Yeah,
up
yeah.
or get left behind.
And if you notice when they're running in that scene, I did some research where there was actually on-screen beef between the running, where Fred Williamson wanted to run ahead and Jim Brown wanted to be the first one to run ahead. So they had to run side by side, Batman and Robin style, if you notice. That was the
Yeah.
compromise. And there's a lot of weird shit like that that went down in this film. And back to the first cop that tried to arrest Jim Kelly. It was such a windy day when they filmed this scene. The cop is trying to play it seriously, and the wind blows his fucking hat off. He does not flinch. The camera does not stop, and they just continue to film it while this dude's hat is flowing down the fucking Fifth Avenue or wherever the fuck they were at. It's hilarious. Also, there's a guy he's that guy you go, I seen that guy in a lot of shit. That guy we're talking about is Charles McGregor. He played Charlie. He was Jimmy Latch, Jim Brown's sidekick. He had like a small role in this movie, but you've seen him in Blazing Saddles and in a bunch of stuff. It's
Yeah.
amazing. His life is fucking amazing. This is a guy who was in prison for like 23 years for a double murder. Murder.
No.
Yeah, he murdered some people, and of course, after
He was
after
Fat Freddy.
yeah,
Wasn't he
yeah,
Fat
on
Freddy in
Superfly.
Superfly?
Yes, he was. And it
Gordon Parks Jr.
ironically,
bringing in the friends.
yep, he became the fucking sidekick to Cleavon Little in Blazing Saddles. Is the world rising or are we sinking? They gonna kill us, Barb. They gonna kill us. And it's just amazing that this guy went to jail for 23 years, and they found it after 23 years. It was a justifiable homicide. I would be the most bitter human being in the world, but this dude somehow made it in Hollywood. He got a lot of good big roles, but in big pictures. So he had his star was there. He wrote a couple books about his life. Cheers to Charles McGregor, because when is the next time somebody's going to say anything about this guy? He was always that cool motherfucker, and like you said in Superfly, he lost his shit in that movie, and he went down in a fucking blaze of fucking non-glory, and he lost his shit in this movie too. In this movie, don't wear fucking yellow in a guns fight. Don't. Everybody else in this film is dressed in black. This motherfucker shows up in yellow, and you know the writing is on the wall. But yeah, Charles McGregor is cool. I always thought he was a really cool cat, and then I did some research and turned out he was cooler than that.
So anyway, they have captured one of these henchmen. Fred Williamson ain't into no torture. He's hanging down, smoking a cigar, while Jim Kelly goes to work on the guy. But Jim Kelly comes down. I can't make him talk. Jim Brown tells us, don't worry. Cut to 3 bikers.
Best scene in the movie.
Yeah, this is some fucked up shit, man. They come in, they show up, they pop off their helmets. It's that classic beautiful girl under the motorcycle helmet.
With a twist.
Yeah, and they're told they need to get some information, just soften them up. They're like, well, when we soften them up to talk, we get to finish them, right? We get to go all the way. And I'm thinking, when I was a kid watching this, going all the way with these girls.
Yeah,
And that was not what they meant. They go
not
up.
what they meant.
This guy is like, okay, ladies. They're up there. They're topless, all three of them. He's just like, oh, man, you can do whatever you want to me.
And apparently they did, because these women, ironically, there was like a great, it just was so ahead of its time. Marie O'Hara, she played Princess. Irene Sue played the Empress. And Pamela Sir played the Countess. And they were in that order: a black woman, an Asian woman, and a white woman. That scene put a kibosh on this film for a couple weeks because the producers did not want to have a black woman, an Asian woman, and a white woman, A, working together, B, being not damsels in distress. They had full agency. Not only that, these bitches were dangerous. They came in there with a fucking bag full of fucking tools that I don't even want to know what was in there, because those men, that man upstairs was screaming where Jim Kelly was scared for him. And when they went upstairs to see him, he was crying, begging them to stop. Yet they weren't even on him. So it's in your mind. The theater of the mind is telling you whatever's happening, it ain't good. And you don't want this to happen, no matter how sexy these three chicks were. It
My
was so
mind went to some kind of psychosexual torture. He's all curled up like in the fetal
yeah.
position, and he's wearing his tighty whities, a layer of sweat, and nothing else.
He's crying, moaning, and begging for release. Again, watch Black Dynamite. You will see this scene, but without the sexy biker chicks, but where the guy just tells Black Dynamite the evil villain's evil plan about what they're going to do. And that's when we understand in this film about the scientists trying to poison the water, 3 different states. It affects the black race and the people of dark phenotype, where they would not be able to reproduce. Well, the planet will be basically all white. As crazy as that sounds, this shit's been fucking worked on. And that's the sad part. This went from action movie science fiction to fucking reality science fact. It's amazing that people really think like that. And that the Hollywood did not want this movie to come out with these 3 women doing what they did and loving it and being okay with what they were. These crazy S&M biker chicks that were badass. Their entrance was badass. Their reveal was badass. Then when they show back up to the fucking crook, he is so terrified of them, he dies.
He
So
has a
imagine,
heart
you
attack
gotta
on
imagine
the
what these
spot.
bitches did.
Man, I tell you, it's crazy stuff. This guy has now spilled all the details. They know the 3 cities they've got to go to stop the poisoning. They know where Wendy's being held, but because of the timeline, they got to stop that poisoning fast. And, you know, as we mentioned earlier, I'll just bring it up again. The plot lands hard because it echoes reality. The idea of poisoning or experimenting on black bodies was not speculative. The Tuskegee syphilis experiment was real, along with others. Men were lied to, untreated, and observed for decades with the full knowledge of the U.S. government. So when Three the Hard Way says they're poisoning us, it's not paranoia, it's memory. The film doesn't invent distrust, it simply reflects it. The violence in this movie is purposeful. Each confrontation stops something specific, a plan, a poisoning, a next step. Back to the action. If you guys thought Jim Brown versus 2 full-size cars couldn't be topped, well, then you didn't get to Jim Brown versus a truck.
And a phone booth.
Yes, Jimmy's in a phone booth, and a couple of these redneck motherfucking Nazi pieces of shit come plowing through the parking lot and just take out the phone booth. They go driving on because they know, okay, we took care of him. He's all dead now. And what do we see? Jim Brown is holding on to the back of that truck like Indiana Jones would years later. He crawls across that truck like Indiana Jones does years later. comes pounding in and takes those guys out, getting off the truck just as it hits a billboard. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Nubius, but I'm not sure if the billboard explodes or the car explodes.
Doesn't matter. We know who's
No, it
doing the
doesn't.
stunts in this film. Something's gonna explode. He could have sat on a toilet and that motherfucker would explode.
Fuck yeah.
I got a question for you before you finish. After the last scene, before the truck explosion, I took the title of Three the Hard Way in a totally different direction. And it had nothing to do with Jim Brown, Jim Kelly, and Fred Williamson. I think it was the three chicks. They had to get that information from them three the hard way. And those three, I'm telling you, the three chicks are incredible. They have such a small scene in it. I wish they would have did like a spin-off with just what the fuck do they do? Do bad guys or vigilantes just call them to get information from people or what? But Fred Williamson, this guy, the Hammer, who gives zero fucks about anybody, who is never written as a person intimidated or afraid of any character in any film I've ever seen him in. He was always the alpha, was terrified of these women. Because remember when Jim Kelly says, have you ever did any, social with them? And he was like, hell no. Are you crazy? What the hell is wrong with you? And then he said,
Yeah.
Jim Kelly goes, I have to go up the stairs to save this man. Even though this man is a villain trying to kill the black race, Jim Kelly is so naive that he wants to save this man. And Fred Williamson says, dude, if you go up there, I'm going to have to try to go up there to save you. So sit your ass on down and let shit happen the way they're supposed to happen. That's all. It was amazing. And again, Jim Brown was busy blowing up fucking billboards and trucks via magic. But hey, he got that information of where the headquarters was, what three cities they were using, and what was the delivery device for the poison.
Yes. From there, we go back to the bad guy's lair. Feather is still talking to Wendy. I don't know. So the antagonists in this movie, they're calm and they're polite. They're soft-spoken, well-dressed gentlemen. And that's intentional because history tells us that atrocity often arrives quite well-mannered.
Yes. Then they had their little, I hate to say it, their little Trump party where they were all saluting each other and hailing each other.
Absolutely.
It was crazy. It was like a Trump rally.
It did, because they think that the poison has made it into the water supply. We get this montage of 3 planes coming in, the poison's on the way. Each of our 3 guys gets to deal with it in their own way. If you were lonely for that water treatment plant from Truck Turner, featured
Blackula.
briefly in Blackula, yeah, well, it's back.
You're going to get a lot of it.
Yes.
External shots and internal shots.
Yeah, they have a great fight out there. Jim Brown teams back up with Charles McGregor, Mr. Keys, and we better mention this because it's important. Jim Kelly's character's name is Mr. Keys. His first name is Mr. And the cop asks him, what kind of a name is Mr.? And he says, well, my mama always wanted me to be respected. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that Mr. T's explanation?
Yep.
A good 7
From,
years later when he showed up?
That and A-Team, and that was also stolen from Trouble Man, because his name was Mr. T. And why did they call
That's
you
right.
Mr. T? He says, because I demand respect. Trouble Man is a very underrated movie also, where the songs tell the story. Just like Superfly, just like Shaft. We don't get that no more, man. We rarely get a theme song anymore on television, but these songs really told the story and got you hyped to see how we got there. Continue.
3 the hard way.
Yeah. 6, technically.
This film still works. Water crisis, environmental racism, medical neglect, different decade, but the same fears we have now. Again, that's why it still resonates.
Yeah.
I love this movie. So they get to their respective spots. They defeat the bad guys. They get each guy in their own way, as I said before. takes out the guys. Jim Brown was the guys on the truck, and they all team up to go against Monroe Feather in his compound. And Monroe Feather has just finished celebrating. He thinks everything's good. And then the boys show up, they rescue Wendy, they take out everyone, and they fucking save the day. We've got to leave a little something for the folks out there to enjoy. And another thing with this film and Gordon Parks Jr.'s direction, you got to come in at 90 minutes. And every now and then, I had the feeling in the editing room that they'd be like, hey, Gordon, we only got 85 minutes. And he'd say,
Right.
there got to be more shots of Wendy and Jimmy holding hands. Throw in another shot of Fred and the chick in the boat, and let's pad this out. And thank goodness we have the music and such charisma from our leads during those scenes.
Then you had that one part, though, in this film that, like, the icing on the cake is when everything you think the movie's over, and then Jim Kelly goes, that's it? And Fred Williamson goes, nah, let's finish it. And you know Fred Williamson loves throwing dynamite at shit. He blows the shit out of the whole compound and kills everybody.
Yes.
And it just ends like it runs out of film.
And those motherfucking guns. These guys,
Yeah.
Jim Brown and Fred Williamson, had the biggest fucking guns you've ever seen
And a
outside of
sky
Slaughter,
blue
maybe.
minivan.
And the van changes.
I was wondering if you caught that.
Yeah, the van changes. But what about that point where Jim Brown shoots at the guys and the fucking whole stairwell and half the building seems to explode? Thank you,
I
Hal
wrote
Needham.
down on my notes that Jim Brown and Fred Williamson's, especially Fred's guns, did not have bullets. They shot explosions out of these motherfuckers.
Well, there's that one point. There's that point where Jim Brown's bullet blows the guys up and Fred Williamson just goes, what kind of bullets you got
What
in
kind of
there?
bullets are you using? And that was like the
Yeah.
whole inside joke. And it also was like, whenever they went to, they're hiding and they're hiding from the, gunfire and stuff, Fred Williamson would go, here, Jimmy, mister, take this gun. And he goes, man, I don't use guns. Will you just take the gun? Because Jim Kelly doesn't use guns in any of his movies. He looked like he was fumbling with the gun, and he was just like, fuck it, I'm going to just kick this one. It was insane.
There's that one gunshot you hear at the very end, off screen.
Yeah.
Did Jim Kelly finally pick up a gun and take a shot?
Or did the gun go off and shoot and kill Jim Kelly? Who the fuck knows? Because the movie was over. All I know is we got to do a R.I.P. before we close out with again, Charles McGregor. He was basically the white chick in any horror movie. Don't you tell a white chick in a horror movie to stay right here, you know they're not gonna stay. So they tell this Charles McGregor, Jim Brown says, stay right here, stay in the car. He gets out of the car. They're in the dark. Everybody's wearing fucking black, even the villains, except for their red berets. And Charles McGregor's wearing bright yellow. So yes, he gets shot and he tackles a guy and they both fall off a fucking like a fucking dam or some shit. But
yeah. It looked like maybe a quarry or a dam. It had to be a dam.
And David Chow, who you got the black guy who knows karate, so sure he's gonna find his karate friend, and they're gonna go down into the fucking waterworks and karate the death out of motherfuckers. Of course, he don't make it back. I wrote in my notes, never be a partner to the guys at Three the Hard Way.
Never, man. So, guys out there, watch Three the Hard Way, but watch it carefully. Don't watch it as camp, though you can laugh at the campy stuff. Not as nostalgia, though watching these three brothers in action is very nostalgic for me, and not as exaggeration. Watch it as a film that understood something early, that danger doesn't always announce itself, and sometimes the only people who stop it are the ones that see it coming.
See it coming, or the ones that look dangerous. And they end up being the one that's going to save us.
Another question for you before we wrap up here. Does Jim Kelly have it in his contract that he's got to fight in a car wash?
Yeah. Who the fuck knows? Because they sure did put it in there, didn't they? Fucking car wash scene. Brown got shot, so he had to take him to the hospital. So Jim Kelly had to have his car wash scene and beat the shit out of everybody in the car wash. That's where they got the fucking informant to take to the red, white, and blue girls. I think he'd rather at the end of the day before he died, stayed in Soapy Suds because he took the L hard. But this was 3 the hard way. Literally, you could tell we loved this movie. Me and Johnny Depp loved this movie. This is the Black Justice League. Only 3 of them. So that tells you
Yeah.
we don't need iron suits, magic hammers, fucking World War II veterans. We don't need any of that. We just need 3 guys with a particular set of skills and the balls to use them. Doesn't hurt having a fucking Asian chick, a black chick, and a white chick who are dominatrix who will fucking kill you while making you give up all your dirty secrets. But with that,
Damn right.
come back and see us again. Give us a fucking like again. Share it. Come watch us on YouTube. See us on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. And again, we love doing this shit. And the next film we're going to do before the end of the year is another perennial favorite, Superfly.
Superfly is up next, folks. We're going to close out the year with the biggest explosion cinemas ever didn't see coming. Superfly.
If you are ahead of the game, listen to the song, write down the lyrics, it will tell you what's happening. In the whole fucking song. Curtis Mayfield was making this music while the film was being fucking made. So we're not going to give out any more until we get to it. So come back and see us again. Same black time.
Same black channel. Peace.
From Harlem streets to LA nights, danger creeping in neon lights. When the system's bent and the law won't play, 3 brothers rise, 3 the hard way.
Fred got the glare, cold steel grin. Jim Kelly kicks like thunder rolling in. Jim Brown walks, whole rooms go quiet. When Black Justice speaks, it starts a riot.
No badges shining, no capes in sight, just fun, fist, and what's right. Black justice coming down hard. Blaxploitation, avengers dealing street level cards. Black justice
Hear that bass line say,
when evil calls, it's
3 the hard way. Oh, it's 3 the hard way. Corporate suits with a genocidal plan. Poison in the pipes for every man. They bet on fear, they bet on delay. But 3 hard brothers stood in the way.
They don't wait for permission or a bat signal flash. They kick in the door and they even the man. Fred, Jim, that triple threat way. Justice League.
Now, hard way,
Black justice coming down hard. Blaxploitation, avengers dealing street level cards. Black justice. Hear that bass line say, when evil calls, it's
3 the hard way. Funk is the power, the street is the law. Truth in the punch, no superhero flaw. This ain't fantasy, this is flesh and bone. 3 men stand when you're standing alone. Fred Williamson, Jim Kelly, Jim Brown.
say it slow. Legends don't run.
Black justice.
Stop that ground. 3 hard men when the war breaks down.
Black justice.
Turn that record and play. When the folk needs saving.
3 the hard way. 3 the hard way.
Need a hero?